let's get into it. So, we're going to unlock revenue in 4 key areas today. I'll show you where. We're going to unlock 4 key areas. Firstly, in the call center. I'm going to show you how you can turn your call center into a profit center. I'm going to teach you how to convince your techs to actually sell in a home, actually open their mouth. By the way, raise your hands. Who here is in residential? Oh, awesome. Love it. Love it. Rest commercial? Yeah? Okay, more residential people. I love it, that part. That's my jam. Okay. Convince your techs to actually sell in a home. We all know how hard that can be. Sell more systems at a higher ticket. And if you miss a sale along any one of those 3 stages, how to recover that sale, get that sale, and turn them into a lifelong customer. Sound good? Yeah? All right. Let me share with you real quick how I got this inside scoop. So, Parker, right now, 250, a total freaking animal, but I've also been able to travel to thousands of shops and the most successful home service companies across the United States. And there's various, the common mistakes that most contractors make, these people don't. And I'm going to share them with you. It's going to be super actionable, straight to the point. You go ahead and roll them out, and you'll see the fruits of everything I share with you. You'll see the fruits of them fast. I believe I've undiagnosed ADHD. What keeps me going is momentum. So quick wins facilitate that. So everything I share are quick, to the point wins. All right. So turn your call center to profit center. In an attempt to make everything executable for those that are here, and I really, in all of my heart, believe that if it's not executable, guessing just sucks. I'll send everything I speak to, I will send a playbook to facilitate the execution of that idea when I'm back in Phoenix next week. So there'll be a few of these scattered throughout. Okay. All right. Mistake number 1 that most contractors make, and that the best don't, and we've made these mistakes. I've made these mistakes. And I've seen how freaking negatively impactful they can be. So, mistake number 1 in a call center, the energy is low. I want you guys to put your mind back to a movie or a TV show that you've watched that has a world-class call center. We all have that image in our brain of what a world-class call center looks like. So let me ask you this. In that world-class call center that we have in our brains today, are the walls vanilla or are they vibrant and colorful? Vibrant, right. Is it quiet in that call center, or is it noisy, loud, excitement, great music? Shout it out for me.
Loud, fine.
Yes. Are those call centers picking up an old school phone, calling a number and dialing out, or do they have a headset on that blocks out background noise and it auto dials for them? Right. What? Headset. Yes. So many of us have fallen into the trap of our call centers just being kind of dull. And CSRs have it hard. Like, they have to sit every day and listen to people and talk to people who don't want to talk to them. Have you ever talked to someone that doesn't want to talk to you? It sucks. We as humans seek connection, and that person doesn't want to be connected with that person because they don't want to call you. They have a problem that they wish they never had. So you end up having CSRs that are low energy because they're just, people are speaking to them that don't even want to speak to them in the first place. You have they're contributing to the customers are contributing to the low atmosphere even further, and what we do as owners is set them up for failure because we haven't given them an environment to succeed in. When I've been into call centers, literally they are like, the CSRs are like high-fiving each other. Like it's like a freaking cheerleading squad. And I know that sounds goofy, but what that does to the bottom line, you seriously won't find it goofy anymore, and I encourage you to try it. It's also a great recruiting tool, because if you bring an A player into your organization to give them a tour of the place, and they see a dull environment where people seem kind of bloody down, Or they see an exciting environment where it's colourful, vibrant, people are high-fiving each other, cheering each other on, there's a team feeling vibe about the place. What environment's going to attract the APPAREL more? Right. Simple things, simple things. And you know, I've been at fault of it too, and just with the change, it's amazing how, and we all, like, even when we all play our favorite song, that impact it has on our vibe and our energy is huge. And when we speak to a negative Nelly, the energy they suck out of us is huge, and they have to do it all day. It's our responsibility as owners to give them an environment they can succeed within. Fair enough?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, mistake number 2. CSRs don't understand the value of every call. Every call, if we do our job right, is a $15,000 call, eventually. When that phone rings, we don't know if it's $110 enough or a $15,000 unit. Every call eventually, if we do our job right, should turn into a $15,000 unit. So every single call, if it's thought of and treated as a $15,000 call, because it is, the speed to which those CSRs answer the phone, the vibe that they bring to the phone, the empathy they're able to portray on the phone, the relationships they're able to bring to create and cultivate with that customer, just frickin' jumps through the roof. Because most individuals, and I, as I share with you what to look for in a high-performing CSR, one of the things is conscientiousness. They don't want you to lose 15,000 bucks. I'll also show you how to spiff them accordingly as well, so they're even more motivated. But they don't want to lose 15,000 bucks. They just don't think they're losing 15,000 bucks, because we as owners haven't told them that. So every single call has to be treated as though it's a $15,000 call, because it is. It's amazing with that mindset shift alone, the speed to which those CSRs will answer that phone is crazy. And how this person who seemed like they needed, I don't know, friggin' an IV of like sugar because they were just low that morning, all of a sudden have lots of energy and they're very friendly and approachable. So we need, as owners, to teach them the value of every single call. Questions? Questions? Are we relating to this? Yeah? Yeah, you're not alone, I've made these mistakes too. So, mistake number 3, training is not taken seriously. I want you guys to be honest when I ask you a few questions here. Who in this room, raise of hands, trains your techs weekly or at least frequently? There was more residential people in the room than that. Oh my gosh, train your techs, please, train your techs. Okay, most of the time when I ask this question, I get 80% of the hands go up. Who here works on training their comfort consultants? Not weekly, but frequently. And we care about their training, we're trying to make them be better. Yeah. Goodness, I need you all to be training more. Send some stuff after this. Installers, same thing. People here working on their installers, training their installers. Okay. Usually when I ask this question, all of those 3 areas people are, oh, they're training them. They're training them. They're giving them all the tools they need. When I ask them, how often do they train their CSRs? It's like flipping crickets. It is. No wonder they're bloody miserable, they get no attention, partially. But the crazy bloody part is, if the CSRs don't nail the call, every person that you've invested so much time and energy into don't even get the chance to do their job. Isn't that just like, how freaking stupid are we? Seriously, training is not taken seriously. The other crazy part of that is they're the most achievable people to train because they're in the bloody office. All we have to do is have that weekly meeting with them, and then when we have that inevitable gap in our days that do happen once in a while, you pull your chair up alongside of them, and you do ride-alongs. You listen into their calls, you give them feedback, and you allow, and then they take the next call, and they take the improvements, they take the coaching tips that you've given them, and they implement them on the next call. So it's that live feedback. It's perfect practice. And it's perfect practice that leads to game-changing results. It's that easy. You literally just pull your chair up alongside a CSR and you rotate throughout the office. It is such an amazingly valuable use of your time. And oftentimes as business owners, we're trying to actually not get caught in busy and do something that genuinely makes a difference. So if ever you're sitting at your desk questioning whether what you're doing is actually going to move the needle, and you're just bamboozled and annoyed about the fact that it might not, what certainly will is getting your bum down onto a chair into the call center and training your CSRs. When I say turning your call center into a profit center, I really mean that. Like, it can be like a freaking cash printing machine. The people CSRs are thought of, and they think of themselves as order takers. And that mindset affects their performance, but a call center should make you a lot of money. I really mean that, and I'm going to teach you here on mistake number 4 how you can enhance the revenue that it brings in. But they're the most achievable department to train, yet we give all our bloody energy to the people that only really matter if the CSR does their job in the first place. It's nonsensical, and we need to change it. The most successful contractors are all over it like a bloody rash. Okay, mistake number 4, not required to make offers. So, oopsie daisies, this clicker. Not required to make offers. My father-in-law stepped away from the day-to-day. When we sold the company to the Wrench Group, he stepped away and now works within Wrench. And I called Parker to get work for our own house, and every time in the past when we were running the call center, at the end of every call, they'd make an offer. And it had been twice or 3 times now that I'd called and they hadn't made an offer. And I called Paul, I said, well, I know you're not in the day-to-day, but his office is still at Parker. I said, I really encourage you to look at the numbers that the profit center's bringing in, because I can almost guarantee it's down. The past several times I've called, there's been no offer at the end of every call. And he said, Jesus, you're right. The numbers were down. And he went, and I was like, why? He said, because when we ran the call center, they were required to make an offer at the end of every call. Now, with the current call center manager, it's an option. They can do it if they want. It's a tool in their toolkit. They can do it if they want. And if they're not required to do it, they just won't. Accountability works, it helps us all. And what I mean by offers, CSRs don't want to seem salesy. So I'm going to share with you a framework that allows you to bring opportunity up to a customer in a passive, non-salesy way. And it's this that shifted the course of our business, and now the businesses that we work with throughout the United States. So at the end of every call, when the call is booked, so don't get me wrong, you have to book the call first. We want a 90 to 95% booking rate, and I promise you that's real. The call is first booked. After the call is booked, at the end of the call, they say, oh, by the way, Mrs. Jones, offer, will you be paying full price today? Well, then you probably want to go ahead and sign up for our maintenance plan. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Jones, do you have any toilets that flush themselves, slow leaking drains, or faucets that just drip all day? Oh, by the way, Mrs. Jones, seems like you haven't had a tune-up in over a year. Let me go ahead and make sure that we build in extra time for him to take care of that while he's out on the call. Oh, by the way, a passive, non-salesy way of bringing opportunity up to a customer. Who here believes that their CSRs would be more comfortable bringing an opportunity up to a customer with something that passive? 100%. It's game-changing. There's a famous quote, and I'm going to butcher it. It's something like, you miss 1,000% of the shot. You miss 1,000% of the shots that you don't take. Something like that, I'm butchering it. But they're not going to get everyone. But by goodness, if they're not attempting, they're going to get none. And you end up getting actually quite an amount. Now, I'll send you how to spiff them and keep them jazzed and excited about this, but I've literally, the one sheeter that I'll send you guys, I literally got into a call center and a home service shop, and I was working with the owners, and I love this because it creates such easy, fast change. I went in and I gave the ladies this like script. It's a one-sheeter that just explains the concept. And I said, I want to come back at the end of the day, the people who sell them, for everything you sell, you get X spiff. And I didn't even train on it. I gave them the one-sheeter because it's concept simple. Oh, by the way, offer. The call center had never, ever done better. And the ladies never, ever felt more empowered because they now had a tool that they felt comfortable operating within. Many times they don't feel comfortable being salesy, or they don't feel comfortable being uncomfortable. Most humans don't. Most humans don't like to be uncomfortable. Oh, by the way, creates comfort. It's easy. It's not like this big, long-winded pitch or spiel that they've been told to remember. Or they're not reading from a script, which can oftentimes make a person on the phone sound like a bloody robot. Have you ever talked to those CSRs and they're reading a script, or even a call center person in general, and you can't get a word in edgewise because they're just reading the script. They're not even listening to you. Oh, by the way, it's a framework that they can like free flow within. Does that make sense? Is this helpful, everybody?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I lost one guy. That went all I guess. All right. Oh, by the way. Okay. Okay. There's more, there's more things that go into creating a super profitable call center. Those four though, are the biggest needle movers that you'll see the fruits of fast. So we have a playbook on building $1 million CSR, the training that a CSR needs, the sales recovery for a CSR, the call volume report, competitions that keep them fun and exciting and engaged and create this like healthy challenge within the operation. There are so many other playbooks. We can talk about those playbooks. There is more. Like I'm not goofy enough to know that there's not more. There is a lot more. But those four key things will make such worthwhile dramatic difference. Okay. Woo! Come on. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, get up. Show me crazy. We're gonna go again. Crazy, come on. Guys at the back, come on. Up. This is very disappointing. Yeah, there you go. You won. You just stole the show. You just stole the show. Okay. Half and $20.
10.
Huh?
This is half of $20. I'm not going to split that up.
Yeah, tear it half. Give the other person the other half. There you go. But is this check the size? Make sure the size is right. The small one gives me a headache. Large. Yeah, I got it. There you go. Okay, I was one of those kids that when all the girls wore the yellow helmets, I wore the red one. Okay, so let's keep going. These gifts are just bananas. I love it. Okay. Convincing your techs to sell. Who wishes every tech would sell? Raise the hands. Right. Would it be worth your while in here today if I gave you a framework, not a perfect pitch, that would allow your techs to feel comfortable selling?
Yeah.
Yes? All right, well, let's get into it. Same thing. It's the same barcode throughout, so if you catch it once, you've caught it. I just want to give you these, I want to facilitate the execution of all these ideas. Okay. Mistake number one. There's no focus on what to sell. Here's what I mean by that. Who here has been in a place in their month where they're behind on revenue goal? And yeah, right. I've raised hands. Who's been behind on revenue goal? We all have.
Oh yeah.
And you're having your tech meeting and you're like, guys, I just need you to sell something. Sell anything at all. And you list off like 15 bloody things that they could potentially sell. And guess what they do? They sell none of them. I can't effectively drive 15 things. Dudes are probably so overwhelmed, they just want to get the heck out of the meeting. When there's no focus on what to sell, nothing is sold. How you fix this is with an accessory program. You choose one accessory of the month and you throw the kitchen sink at making sure they can so easily bloody sell it. What I mean by kitchen sink, you create a flyer that they can give to the customer, that makes it so compelling that the tech doesn't even really need to talk about it. You provide training videos, not just how to install the thing, but how to talk about it. you have your CSOs bring the opportunity up, or your dispatchers bring the opportunity up to the customer before the tech ever goes to the home, so they're kind of prepared and excited about this potential thing. And you also just have to not shut up about it. I've learned a lot from my father-in-law. I'm also very competitive, and I didn't like that my husband knew more than me, so I still get coaching from him every week. And the various things, something else I've learned from him is that when he commits to focusing on something, he doesn't shut up about it, obnoxiously so. Where the technician could be coming down the hall and he's speaking about that accessory. So what I mean is, every single month you choose an accessory that you want to focus on that month. As an example, an air scrubber. Okay, so typically you might sell 10 air scrubbers a month. This month you're going to sell 50 of them. It is more effective, I can more effectively drive one thing home than I can 15. Because I just will not shut up about it for 30 days. And what I'm also doing is I'm putting a tool in the technician's tool bag that he can take with him the rest of the career. The goal isn't for the technicians to sell it this month and then never sell it again as their career. They'll get into the habit, because ultimately what we're trying to do is build the habit of them opening their mouth in a home. That's what we're trying to do. It's giving them more tools in their tool bag that they can take with them throughout the rest of their career. The next month, they've just got so in the habit of selling this thing, or they deeply believe in this accessory, that they'll keep selling it. So it is just tremendously shifting what this can do, because you just don't stop talking about it. You give them, you throw the kitchen sink at making it easy for them to sell. One other thing to add to that is, whatever they typically get spiffed for an air scrubber, as an example, they get more that month. So you're incentivizing them and making it so easy for them to sell it. So easy. And then the next month you go on to something else. Raise of hands, who believes they'd have a more effective time at getting their technicians to sell one thing a month that they focus on versus a whole host of things, or something? Right. Right. We all can't try 15 things at once. My nana had 15 kids, and she ain't back there a mess. But 15 things is just not real, but one thing really, really is. And the next month, we move on to something else. When there's no focus on what to sell, nothing is sold. Ultimately, what we want to do is build a habit. That's it. So they're comfortable opening their mouth, and they see the dollars coming in for the thing that they've been set up for success to sell. Does that make sense? Yeah? Exciting? Helpful? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Preaching perfect scripts. Who here really believed they were freaking hot ass at selling a particular thing? Like, you'd sold it various times, you knew how to sell it. Who here has sold something in the course of their career and they sold it so many times they knew how to sell it? Yeah? And you had your process and you stuck with it and you did it every time and it was almost predictable, you knew you'd sell the thing. Raise hands. And there's various nuances as to why you did. You had this perfect pitch. Every single month, we're incorporating a new accessory. And for those of us who in the past didn't have an accessory program and they were expected to sell something, 15 different things or whatever, learning the perfect way of selling something, the perfect script, is so bloody overwhelming. They then, when they're about to bring an opportunity up to a customer, get caught in their head because they're trying to remember the script. They're searching for what to say. And then they get uncomfortable and say nothing. Perfect scripts don't work. Our technicians like to be technical. They don't want to go home and learn off a flipping long script. They just don't, and they won't. And we had this problem in Parker. So we had to come up with a framework on what is a scalable way, a scalable framework that will allow our techs to bring opportunity up to a customer. A framework that they can apply to whatever the heck they're selling. If they chose to sell ice cream next week, they can apply it to that. And it's called the I noticed most of the why framework. Anyone here heard of it? Yes, love it. All right, she's been watching us. I love it. Good. So I know it's most of why framework. I'll give you some examples. So I'm so surprised I haven't thought it yet. It's great. I noticed, Mrs. Jones, you have a 10-plus-year-old system. Most of our customers consider replacing after 10 years because it saves them so much money on their utility bills. May I ask why you have not? I noticed, Mrs. Jones, you don't have air filtration, an air scrubber, to be specific. Most of our customers consider having an air scrubber because your AC system is the number one filter in your home. It filters 60% of the air in your home. The next filter is your lungs. You can either buy a filter or be a filter. May I ask why you haven't considered air filtration? I noticed most of why. I noticed passive way of bringing opportunity up to a customer. We like to do things that feel safe if we know lots of other people have. That's why reviews are powerful. I don't do anything if they don't have great reviews. I noticed most of, and then why. It's just one value point. So what I mean by that is, now all you're teaching your technicians is one value point. For every single accessory or anything you want them to sell, one value point, and then move on. We then ask them to, so what the why is facilitating is either, oh, I didn't know it did that, or potentially an objection. And we ask our people to tackle one objection and then move on. We're not facilitating pushiness by any means. We're just providing opportunity for a customer to have something that will better serve their home in a framework that makes it easy and accessible for the tech to do so. I noticed most of why. Does that make sense? Anything, literally anything, absolutely anything in your organization, I noticed most of and why. I'll send you some training videos on it too. I noticed most of and why. And that is something you also just don't shut up about. So when you launch the accessory program, they're now like, yeah, but how do I talk about it? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to seem salesy. I noticed most of why. I noticed most of why. You walk down the hall to your technicians. I notice most of why today? And you literally don't shut up about it. It can be applied to everything. It is so game changing. It's a framework that they can be themselves within. Make sense? Give me a yes? Yes. Love it. Okay. All right. Mistake number 3. Not debriefing after every call. Either a service manager or a dispatcher could do this. Back in the day, I can't speak to back in the day as much as I would like, but I have seen companies that still do it because they saw what worked. The dispatching unit of an organization was the loudest unit. They were like jazzing people on, hyping the techs up, they were buddies with the techs. Now it's like the quietest, which is wrong. Separate point. But not debriefing after every call. If you don't debrief after every call, you're missing the opportunities to build the habits that you need to build in order to cultivate success. So at the end of every call, you call your technician and you ask him, what did you notice most of why? If the unit was over 10 plus years old, did you build that into one of the options? Did you do the health and safety inspection? If so, what did you find in the health and safety inspection? You're facilitating the building of habits. There's accountability. We all perform better under accountability. Not debriefing. Not debriefing after every call, you miss the opportunity to build those habits, and they just won't. I do believe most people want to do good work. They just forget. They forget to bring the things up that actually work. And along with that, when it's in the middle of the summer, and a technician is in an attic, it's 120 degrees, it's miserable. I've done it once, it sucks. And I'm like sweating like a lunatic up there, and I don't want any part of it, and I want down, yet they do it every day, all day. So they're on their first call, they're sweating like a lunatic, and they've got to go to 2 others. It's kind of lonely, it can get, it's real draining on our techs. when you debrief after every call, you're facilitating connection. You can you can be that cheerleader that they need to keep pushing when it's really hard. And those summers, like Arizona summers, it's hard. Like I traveled, I went for one, it was one day, and I went on 3 different installs, and it was miserable. It's hard. I'm not put out for it. And when I traveled with Right a lot, when I went to companies who did the debrief versus those that don't, the technicians or the installers are far more kind of deflated, because they feel like they just feel like they're on an island, on their own, no one's encouraging them, no one's supporting them. Debriefing after every call, your role on that is not just to keep them accountable, it's to be their cheerleader and to encourage them. You got it, good job, we can do better next call, what are we going to change? And you're doing that coaching, you got it, thank you for your work, on to the next call. It also makes them feel like they're part of a team, because it often can feel like they're not. Yes, I would love a question.
I would think a lot more companies would have it just digitally, where they're not talking to the dispatcher between calls.
You would think a lot more companies do?
No, I think a lot less companies talk to dispatcher between each call. The technician has on their phone, they know where they're headed to.
Yes. So
how do companies then deal with that?
It's part of the process, because they know it works. So a service manager or a dispatcher, depending upon the organization, both work. It's just part of the process. They call them after every call. They ask them those questions to hold them accountable, and they cheerlead them on. Yes, technology allows us to not have to do it, but by not doing it, you're creating a much less fulfilled technician, and you're also slowing down the length of time it takes to build habits that work. So yeah, I love questions. I want this to be as conversational as we can make it.
Well, actually, just to piggyback off of what you're sharing,
yeah.
If you have the digital checklist, it only just allows the team member to roll through it themselves to prepare for that accountability call. So then on the debrief, the dispatcher or service manager can roll through their digital checklist and then speak to them to the items and verify pictures, verify yard sign, verify whatever else. So it's just an asset, not necessarily the end all, like the digital component.
Yes. So you're saying the technician has those items so they too can hold themselves accountable?
And then speaking to the
yes.
dispatcher to kind of wrap it up.
Yes.
And really make sure
put a bow on it, right?
both touches instead
yes.
of just one.
Exactly, and that's exactly it. Like, technology is becoming so evolved right now, we use it to make us even better. It isn't going to replace the need for human connection. It allows us to be even better. So yes, having that checklist for the technicians, so they too can hold themselves accountable, because they don't want their manager down their throat if they don't. They want to do it. If you give them the checklist, it does facilitate success, and then yes, the dispatcher or the service manager is just making sure it happens. Trusting and verifying, but not just making sure it happens, you've got to also, they can't dread your call. You know, you've got to be that cheerleader, you've got to encourage them, make them feel part of the team. Does that answer your question?
Completely. I still don't see some of the logistics of it, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's now that technology is evolving more, it's easy to justify negating certain things that work, because technology could do a similar thing. The numbers will quickly make you think otherwise. So what I encourage you to do is, for a month, try it and see how, and for a month try it and then gauge the difference in satisfaction levels between your technicians. It's significant. See their average ticket goes up, so it doesn't just have an impact on satisfaction, it has a deep impact on your bottom line. People need to be held accountable. Technicians like to be technical. That's what their favorite thing to do is. Doing all the other things they're not necessarily all about. The accountability truly helps. So I love questions, keep them coming. Test it for a month, and I welcome you emailing me or texting me. My cell's around the place. Let me know how your bottom line changes, because we've tested it too. Go ahead.
What I'm seeing is the word debrief.
Yes.
In some of our minds has a very specific definition of a process.
Yeah.
I think if we either pick a different word or just call it, one was more like a technical debrief, this is more like a sales debrief, or however you wanna categorize it.
Yes.
There's a different type of debriefing. I love how you said how it, keeps the tech feeling connected to the team
Yes.
and not feeling isolated.
Yes.
So you might not be asking him all the questions in your regular debrief process, you know, about changing the filters and all that. That's a whole different process. But you're asking him about the interaction with your customer.
Correct.
You're asking him about people connection.
Correct.
I guess maybe some people debrief, I don't know.
Correct. And yeah, I would feel out your culture and call it what you feel is most appropriate. So as you go to roll this thing out and you're, you know, selling it to your people, yeah, call it what you believe will most facilitate buy-in. Yeah.
I have to say that I believe that the debriefing allows us to do a mental health check as well.
For
When we're
sure.
in peak, it is crazy how much they might forget to hydrate.
Yes.
And yet the labor retention and turnover is a lot less when they have that connection with the team.
Sure.
Because we're allowing technology to replace that human interaction. It is having a physical effect. And so this has been heaven sent for us. Our retention is a lot better.
Yep, it really is. People need to feel cared for. And sometimes technicians just grind it out, or installers particularly grind it out. They don't take care of themselves. Yeah, and then you'll lose them for a couple of days because they've got heat exhaustion. Okay, not to forget the call. All right. Any more questions?
Yes.
Yes.
For a company you consulted with that
Yes.
hasn't done a debrief, typically how long does it take to change that in their culture?
Relatively fast. Within a month, you can start making it can become part of your process. Now, something to facilitate the success of that is having a champion, meaning you have a technician that you personally speak to first, that has influence over the other technicians, and help him to help you roll it out. There's I call it the third meeting. It's the meeting that happens that we're not in. It's when the technicians talk amongst themselves in the parking lot. You need to make sure that that conversation is the kind of conversation that you want. And you facilitate that by a champion. A technician that all the other technicians look up to, that has influence, that is more that has like leadership qualities. You get him to buy into it. You ask him to help, and when you ask him to help because you trust him, he also feels empowered. He's more bought into the success of it, and in doing so, it'll stick much faster. And also making it part of a KPI. Like it's not there's incredible power in giving somebody a KPI that they have to make happen. Like it's not an option to call a person after their call, it's a requirement. So making it a requirement, but yes, having a champion really helps the speed in which you can roll this out. And yeah, find the most influential tech. Yeah, no worries, thank you. Okay, helpful everybody? Yes? Okay. Actionable? Right? Everyone feels relatively clear on how to roll these out when they go home? Okay. Good. All right. I have a feeling there's a gift coming up soon. And those at the back. Yeah, you with the white shirt. Will you stand up for me next time? Yeah? I'll get you a tequila shot later. Okay, there's more. Getting A players, obviously recruiting and retention, something that bamboozles all our minds. We have a process for that. Performance pay model that works. Portable coolers, game changing. Anatomy of a perfect sales call. Naming of options. The levers that generate massive sales. There's so many other things. I wasn't going to go into any of these, but there's one I just want to because it's really neat and moving. We've tested how you can deliver options in the most convincing way that causes, behavior change, causes the conversion. And we've all heard of the bronze, silver, gold, the good, better, best. It's become so known that it's become salesy. When what we found works better, and actually someone in the industry that most of you probably know, who we rolled this out with, is Tommy Mello. He now speaks about it. It's called, so instead of bronze, silver, gold, it's here's what you have to do, here's what you should do, And if I were installing a new system in my mother's house, here's what I would do. Here's what you have to do, here's what you should do, and if this was my mother's house, here's what I would do. I challenge you guys to roll that out when you go home and tell me how conversion percentage changes. We've tested it across hundreds of companies. It's powerful. It doesn't have to be mother if you don't have a relationship with your mother or she's annoying or whatever. Friend, brother, sister, you get it. Okay, there's so much more, but woo! Woo! Oh, come on, this is the quietest we've ever. Get up, get up, get up, get up! Woo! Up, 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 I need more loud, I need it, get up, get up, get up! People in the back, please, let's go! Woo! Yes, at least I got a clap! At least I got a clap, I love it, okay. I don't even know who won there. Who? You did win? Alright, okay, fair enough. I trust Julie. I trust Julie. Alright, come here. Pick your hat. Make sure it's, I don't know, you seem like you. Men are always large to extra large.
This is extra large.
There you go. Take your 20 mil.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. How crazy are these gifts? How crazy. Okay. Alright. Selling more systems. How are we on time? Oh, sugar. Alright. Selling more systems. It's the area of our business that we should pay most attention to. It's the one that generates us the most revenue. Same QR code. If you scan it, you don't need to scan it. If you don't, I'll send you the stuff. Okay, scan it, I'll send you the stuff. Okay, selling more systems. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1. So many of us make the mistake that we don't differentiate ourselves from our competitors. So we become like everyone else. When you're like everyone else, you're not that memorable. And when you're not that memorable, and you're not able to build as much value, there'll be someone out there that will. And you'll lose to that person. And it can be so easy to differentiate yourself. We all have our perfect customer. And I hope all of you here have given thought to what your perfect customer is. Something I'll send to you too, I just thought of it now, is there's a free tool online, and it's called Building Out Your Avatar. And you literally give this person a name, everything that makes your perfect customer a perfect customer. So you can visualize this person in your brain, so can that. It's a HubSpot free tool if you wanted to Google it. I want you all to go home and literally make sure you're crystal clear on who your perfect customer is. And then think about what are the things that if I did along my customer journey would differentiate me? What would make them feel valued, heard? What would make them trust us? How could we portray that we're truly a trustworthy company that does good work? Because different people care about different things. If you know your avatar inherently, you know what they care about, and you can incorporate those things into the buying process. As an example, your avatar might be a huge dog lover, so you bring dog treats. You are on your way to a home, and another thing Tommy Mello has rolled out that we shared with him is all his people, and in Parker too. As you get bigger, it's holding people accountable is harder, but they call their technician, they call the homeowner before saying, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mrs. Kelly, whatever. I'm pulling into the gas station. Is there anything you'd like? Coffee, energy drink, water?" You're differentiating yourself. You're going that extra mile. It's so easy to achieve, and it's those things that make you memorable. And it also facilitates the law of reciprocity, so they're more inclined to be open to you when you come into their home. When you create that personal relationship just before the call as well, especially for a woman, it creates greater trust and less fear when you're entering to the home. But things like that, like the gas station, easy one, an amazing one. I'm about to pull into the gas station. I'd love to get you a coffee, a water. Is there anything I can get you, Mrs. Jones? It's no trouble, I'm going in there anyway. Happy to pull over. Have them test it. And the reviews people get is crazy. They don't even talk about the service, they talk about the fact that they went and got an energy drink at the grocery store, or at the gas station, or coffee, or whatever. Not differentiating. Go home, take that activity seriously, that I believe every avatar would appreciate one pulling into the gas station to get them X. So that's, I believe avatar, it's not specific to anyone, so try that because it works a charm. But yes, there's various steps in the customer journey, how you can do even more things throughout the customer journey that facilitates them truly knowing who you are and the quality that you genuinely care about facilitating. Mistake number one. Okay, it's amazing that, like, the best companies, they just don't miss out on this stuff because none of it's not a silver bullet. Like, there's no one thing that causes you to get to 250 million or 10 million or 15 million, or it's a bunch of little things. Okay. Mistake number two, they don't anchor. This I find fascinating. I've done right along to the best comfort consultants in the industry because I really am curious about what makes a compelling person compelling. And the common theme throughout the best comfort consultants is that they make sure that their mind is right before they go into the call, or they just don't go in. They don't go into the house because they know they're kind of wasting their time. We all know, we all have a comfort consultant or a salesperson that lost the first two calls. Before they ever even go to the third one, you know they're going to lose it. You're talking to them, they're all in their head, they're beating down on themselves, and you know they're going to lose it. Because their energy sucks. They're depressing you on the phone, never mind the customer. If we don't anchor, I call it anchoring. Jason Belford speaks about it, a crazy guy. But he can sell. If you don't anchor before every call and do something that facilitates you being in an optimal state of mind, you are drastically you're drastically cutting the likelihood the likelihood that you will succeed in the home. We had our top sales guy in Parker. He's retired now, but he, you know the song "It's a Great Day to Be Alive." Yeah, it's a great song. It's kind of like I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. Kind of like that. He pulls in totally different genres, but you know what I'm saying. He pulled into the side of the neighborhood before he's retired, and he played that, blasted it and sang it to himself, and like was getting himself jazzed, and that put him into this winning peak state. There's various things that we can do that can facilitate that. Like, we all have a meal that if we smell, so say we visit our parents and we smell something that reminds us of our childhood, it creates like an emotional response. There's things that we can do that can facilitate that too, and it's called anchoring. So I encourage you to look it up and get your guys doing it. But an easy, scalable way is a song that just gets them going. Almost all of us have a song that really gets them going. Before I spoke today, I had Pink in my ears. I love her. Everybody has a song that gets them going, that facilitates peak state. There's other things that facilitate peak state. Red Bull also helps. But if a person is not in that state of mind, their performance is significantly going to go down. But also, when they anchor, it facilitates them not prejudging calls. How many of us here have gone into a neighborhood, judged the neighborhood because it looked like it wasn't the best neighborhood, and that same dude went and pulled cash out from under his mattress? Yeah. We've all been there. Yet many salespeople judge that neighborhood, think they have no money, and they therefore don't bring their best selves to it because they believe they're not going to be able to afford it anyway. You have to let everything go from the past call. You have to let all your prejudgments go and bring your best self to that call. Debriefing helps with that, but teaching people that, and even sharing with your technicians, like the amount of times I've been in a home where the neighborhood looked kind of dodgy, then the dude pulled cash out from under his mattress. He could afford it. Who am I to judge a person based on how they look that they cannot? Same thing for your people. It's so prejudging is detrimental to society, but also detrimental to your bottom line. Okay, don't anchor. All right. Mistake number 3. Ooh, sugar guys. All right. Don't create affordability. Okay. Most companies in the industry, they sell a unit for 15K. The good companies will sell it for like 110 a month. They'll market it that way, they'll speak about it for 110 a month, you could get a new unit. The best companies break it down to the ridiculous. They break it down to the daily amount. For less than $2 to $3 a day, less than a cup of coffee, you could have a new unit. Who in this room is saying, there's no fucking way I could sell my units for $3 a day? That's too cheap. Let me do the math for you. So, monthly financing fee minus the utility savings divided by 30 over the course of 15 years is $15,000. People don't do the math. You all didn't do the math. You said there's no fucking way I'm selling my system for $3 a day. No way. How do they make money doing that? Break it down to the ridiculous. It's the same thing, but the perception it creates is affordability. It takes the pain out of the sale. Even in your options, when you're presenting your options, it's broken down to the daily. So people, you just say, you say to your customer, well, you know, that coffee that I buy for myself that I don't need, now I just skip that and I have a new unit. So he talks about his own personal experience. For $2 to $3 a day, I get a coffee in Starbucks every day. I knew I shouldn't. My kids had allergies. I knew we needed a new unit. It was too loud. It was driving me crazy. I just said, you know what? I'm not going to get my coffee. I'm going to buy my new unit. So for $3 a day, that's how I just don't get my coffee and I get my new unit. Creating affordability. It takes the pain out of the sale. Few people can just pull 15K. You know, not everyone has money under their mattress. Breaking it down to the ridiculous is a game changer, and I say game changer with emphasis intentionally. Breaking it down to the daily takes the pain out of the sale, it creates affordability. It's the exact same cost. People don't do the math, and that's the best part. You guys didn't do the math. Okay, state number 4. Helpful? Who here does that, breaking it down to the daily? You do?
It does not. Oh, did I say that?
Oh, it does not? Anyone here does it? Who here is now going to try it?
Oh, definitely.
Curious. Really, I want to ask why not, why don't I? Many of you are, which is awesome. Okay, mistake number 4, wrong kind of urgency. Okay, I have 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes. Wrong kind of urgency. Most salespeople are told to create future pain. Okay? They're told to create future pain. So they go into the house and they say, well, Mrs. Jones, you don't want that AC unit going out in the middle of summer when it's 110 outside. Probably should change it now. Doctors can't even facilitate future pain. They can't even make us change. You go to a doctor and you're not working out, your blood pressure's too high, your cholesterol's high, and they say, well, Laura, if you don't change things, it's not gonna look good for you. For a week, conscientious, do the right things. Week later, drinking my Red Bull. Or, we're eating the burgers and the fries. We're going to McDonald's, the things we shouldn't do. Even doctors can't, when it's our life on the line. What makes us think that we can create enough pain to cause them to buy? Future pain is it doesn't facilitate enough urgency. Current pain is what does. So you're learning that you're getting your salespeople to become aware of what their current pain is. Their kids have allergies and they're sick because of it. They're constantly sick. I know how that feels with young kids. It's draining. They have a unit that's too bloody loud, or their utility bills is through the roof. You're discovering what their current pain is, and you're speaking to that. It has been of the best corporate consultants in the country that I rode along with. They do all of those 4 things. All of those 4 things. Current pain is what moves the needle. Future pain, yeah, you can allude to it, but it's not going to be the differentiator. It's not. Every one of them. So they're the common variables I've seen from the best people, and I rode along with ultimate, oh my gosh, compelling as compelling gets. They do those 4 things. Speak to current pain. Or crazy to me. Doctors can't do it. We think we can. Okay. All right. We are on time, guys. I have other things to talk about. The sales recovery, I will send it to you. I want you to have it. I want you to know how to save a sale when you've lost a sale. There's an effective way of doing it. If I go through the mistakes, but I also give an actual playbook of the exact deliverables that a customer should get that facilitates them trusting you. So you're welcome to take a picture of that. But again, I will send it to you once I'm back in Phoenix. For those of you here who know me, what I say I'll do, I will do. Two greatest expenses, we don't have time to go into it. I gotta be respectful of the next speaker, guys, but thank you. Scan for the QR.